All right, welcome to The Explainer. Now, I want you to forget everything you think you know about politics. Seriously. Because today we're going on a journey to find it in the most unexpected places. I'm talking everywhere from your crypto wallet to your favorite movie. So, when I say the word politics, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's this, right? Parliaments, presidents, elections, the formal, televised version of power. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. But what if I told you the real political battles, the ones that truly matter, are being fought in your office, in your community, even in the movies you choose to watch? What if politics is this invisible force that's shaping every single aspect of our lives? Okay, to really get this, we've got to look past the politicians. We need to focus on the real engine of politics, and that is power. It's really that simple. At its core, it's the force that determines who gets what, when, and how. The philosopher Sir Roger Scruton said it really well. He basically said politics is just a fundamental part of being human. It's how we navigate power and make decisions together. And that's true whether we're talking about a huge nation state or just a family trying to figure out its budget. So that leads us to a really crucial question, doesn't it? If politics is really about power, then where else is it at play? I mean, where are the decisions that truly shape our lives being made? It's probably not just in the ballot box. Okay, look at this. Power isn't just in the hands of the people we elect. Nope. Our sources show it's wielded by big corporations through what's called quiet politics, which is basically just influencing policy behind closed doors. It's held by families, through these political dynasties that pass influence down from one generation to the next. And it's also held by organized groups like teacher unions that shape our future through collective action. All right, let's keep going because this is where it gets really interesting. Think of it this way. Power is one side of the coin. What's on the other side? Identity. Politics is so often the arena where our sense of self, who belongs to us and who is them, gets defined, debated, and even defended. And nationalism is a brilliant example of this in action. It comes in a couple of flavors. On one hand, you have civic nationalism, which can be this amazing force for unity, right? It brings all sorts of different people together around shared ideals. But then you have ethnic nationalism, which can be a huge source of division, drawing lines based on things like ethnicity, language, or culture. Just look at Quebec. It's a really fascinating case study. What they've done is forged this unique kind of nationalism that's all about protecting their language and their values, carving out a really distinct political identity, all while still being part of Canada. It's a perfect real-world example of identity politics at work. And then you have India, where the political landscape is just, it's deeply intertwined with religion and social hierarchy. For instance, the rise of the BJP is tied to a Hindu nationalist ideology, and things like faith and the historical caste system, they remain absolutely central to how politics works there. Now, over in the United States, political identity has become so powerful, it's literally changing the social fabric. There's this phenomenon called partisan sorting. It's where people are increasingly choosing to live and even worship only with people who share their political views. It's all fueled by polarization, and it has these incredibly deep historical roots. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that our identities, they are inherently political. Okay, so now we've got our two core ingredients, right? Power and identity. Now for the fun part. Let's see how they mix together in places you would never expect. Seriously, you're about to discover that you're engaged in politics way more often than you think. Think about this. Is your crypto wallet a political statement? Well, believe it or not, yeah, it kind of is. Research is showing that owning crypto is linked to a specific kind of identity, one that's pretty skeptical of government and maybe has a tendency towards conspiratorial thinking. So, yeah, it's a financial choice, but one with a very real political edge. What about sports? Can sports be a tool for foreign policy? Oh, absolutely. We're seeing non-democratic regimes pour billions, literally billions, into sports as a political strategy. They're hosting huge events, buying up famous teams, and what they're doing is building what's called soft power. That's just a fancy way of saying they're using culture and influence instead of military force to boost their international image and get some leverage on the world stage. Okay, how about your health food? Is that political? You bet it is. The whole debate over industrial agriculture versus something called seed sovereignty, which is basically the right of farmers to save and share their own seeds free from corporate control, that is a massive political battle. It's a fight over who gets to control our food, our knowledge, and ultimately our future. And your favorite movie, does it have a political agenda? Well, from state censorship boards in India trying to shape a national identity to queer film festivals actively challenging the status quo, what we watch, and maybe more importantly, what we're allowed to watch, yeah, that is a political battlefield over our cultural values. Even the music you listen to, can that be a political act? Without a doubt. I mean, think about it. Music has always been a powerful tool for social commentary, for protest, and for real political change. The relationship between artists and the people in power, it's always been tense, always political. So it's easy to hear all this and get a little cynical, right? To just think, politics is just about looking for trouble everywhere. But honestly, seeing the political dimension of everything doesn't have to be overwhelming. In fact, it can be incredibly empowering. So, what's the big takeaway from all of this? What's the point? Well, it's about gaining a new, much more powerful lens for seeing the world. It's about being able to look past the headlines and really understand the mechanics working underneath it all. Because when you understand these hidden dynamics of power and identity, it gives you the power to see the world so much more clearly. You start to see why decisions are made, who is actually benefiting, and how real change happens. It's the difference between just being a passive spectator and being a truly informed participant. And here's a simple little framework you can use to start seeing the world through this new lens. It's just 3 steps. 1. Follow the power. In any situation, just ask yourself, who benefits? Who decides? 2. Map the identities. Look for those us versus them stories that are always at play. And 3. Question the everyday. Start looking for the hidden rules and power dynamics in your sports, your food, your tech, everything. Once you start using this framework, you don't just see the world anymore. You see what makes it tick. It all comes down to this one single new perspective. And it lets you see that invisible architecture of power and identity that shapes all of our lives. And that really is the crucial point. Because once you start seeing politics everywhere, you can't unsee it. So I'll leave you with this question. Now that you see it everywhere, what do you see differently? Thanks for joining this explainer.